What's going down, everybody? This is Brother Stevanius, Command Center Wargaming. Fantastic. So today we're going to have a little bit of a chat about something I've wanted to have a chat for a few weeks now, and something that I've been actively talking to only Adonis about for a few weeks now, quite in depth, and that is, who do I think will be the strongest faction, all right, in 40K 9th edition? Now, it's no secret I've been playing more 30K lately these days, and we have had more subscriber requests for 30K content, especially 30K battle reports. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through, I'm going to, maybe not battle reports at this stage, but I'll definitely take photos and do, sort of post-mortems and talk about tactics and things like that as I see it. But on to 9th edition. Now, the reason why I've kind of been laying low about this is basically because I don't personally believe that anyone can really make a call on who is going to be the most strongest faction or who is going to be the top tier factions, right? At all. All right, until the game is actually played and played by a wide variety of people at different skill levels, of different play styles, with different armies. There's like, 22 armies, main armies or something in this game, it's crazy. Right. And, what I was seeing a lot of on YouTube was basically a lot of YouTubers clickbaiting it as usual. Then you have the usual shills, basically, trying to jump on the hype bandwagon. And, I saw these videos coming up. We got these 3 experts coming out on the channel. And I don't know what constitutes them being experts, but apparently, they were experts, and we're all gonna have a chat about who's gonna be the best army in 9th edition, right? And then you had other people basically going through playing each other in a bedroom and claiming that they were gonna go through and mark Custodes as being the best faction of the 9th edition. So the reason why I've stayed away from this video is because, I've had my thoughts, but I just didn't think, we were able to make a statement about that until we actually had some solid data, right? Until games were actually played. But of course, it's YouTube, and, there are a lot of good Warhammer YouTubers, but there's also the point and clicks and the shills and things like that who, for some reason have just, got to get their attention fixed for the week or whatever it is. A lot of people were saying Custodes mainly. Look, I don't think it's going to be Custodes, like straight up. And I think they'll do okay. People saying, because the points, sort of remain the same and they still got most of their features and that. But let me tell you now, guys, right? So Custodes, they are decent, but there's a big disadvantage to Custodes, and that is basically their maneuverability, right? Without allies and things like that, they're not going to be that strong. All right, not compared to other armies out there. This is common sense. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't expect people to come out and make these claims, but maybe it's GW coming through, and maybe they want to sell some Custodes. So basically, they go out and tell the people to say this, say that. Now that's basically what happens on YouTube these days. There's only a few channels left that are legit, as far as I'm concerned, that are basically going to say it how it is. So it's all good. It's all the clickbait. It's all the YouTuber games. So what I want to do is I want to try to pull everybody away from that. And just talk about some of my thoughts on things. And like I said, only Adonis will probably be there in the comments at some point. And, if there's any doubts as to these are our thoughts from the beginning, most of them, feel free to hit him up in the comments down below or ask him. I'm sure he'll pop up. But we called it ages ago, 4 weeks ago, when everyone was saying, Death Guard, Custodes, and all this other crap. Death Guards are strong, don't get me wrong, but the problem is with Death Guard is that they fall into the same trap as Custodes, lack of solid mobility, all right? And so the thing is that we were saying, only Adonis and I were saying from the very beginning, Blood Angels, right? Blood Angels. And from what I could see going on, I think that they're pretty solid. And look, I'm not going to say I'm an expert right now because I didn't design this game, and no offense, but I don't think anyone can really consider themselves experts, even the people who design it, because, like, it's not like they're very accurate when designing rules and stuff. So, but I reckon Sword and Board is going to be key in 9th edition. And I've been tossing it up between the Black Templars and the Blood Angels. And I'll get into that a little bit later, why I've picked Blood Angels. It kind of went like this. It shifted over to Black Templars for a bit. And then we got like the FAQ, which basically said that, Black Templar could only had to re-roll both dice. It wasn't just re-rolling one dice again. And then that just shifted to Blood Angels. That was, for me, I was really this close because I was thinking, okay, Black Templar, all right, they got some sweet relics. They could basically substitute a lot of what Blood Angels can do, okay, including setting up like an area of effect invulnerable, like even on vehicles. I think it's like a 4-up or something. It's like a relic. It's nuts. Like, it's only for a turn. But when you think about it, like, it doesn't say wholly within. It just says within. So you can have like whatever you want. You can have 3 of those. What do they call them? Eradicators, repulsors, impulsors. The one with the big gun, I can't remember now. The GW cash-in tank with the 20-cent turret on the top. The one I got in the background there. I've got a few of them actually. So basically, yeah. Now you could bubble wrap some of them over in the invols, and you could have these things firing out, okay, things like that. The other massive advantage with the Black Templars is pretty huge. So Blood Angels have always been good, decent, but they've been held back by limitations of choice within the codex, right? So, you pretty much know how Blood Angels are going to play. It's like Space Wolves, right? They're really good at doing what they do, but they're only really going to do the one thing. So you know what you're going to expect most of the time when it comes to Blood Angels, okay? People are going to try to get that stuff in your face first go. Now, the thing with Black Templars, the other thing is that, Black Templars, well, they have a lot of other options, war gear options and vehicle options. They could take a lot of stuff, a lot of ranged stuff. They can actually play the ranged warfare, okay, where the Blood Angels have a little bit more trouble with that. So, for example, because Black Templars come out of the main codex, as we know so far, they can take things like, Assault Centurions and things like that. Now, the other thing before the errata nerf, or the FAQ nerf, which I thought was throwing them over, is going to be that, that option to re-roll a single dice, not 2 dice. Because, see, even though Blood Angels are hitting more in combat, right, when they're in combat, the Black Templar were or are sort of more, not anymore, it's about even now, were likely to get into combat more. Right, so even though Blood Angels would have their extra attack and re-roll their wounds and all that kind of stuff, sorry, not re-roll the wound, +1 to wound, when they're in melee, okay, the Black Templars are more likely to get into melee. They're more likely to have more of their units, making that successful charge with less, command points and things like that, just from their Warlord trait. That's the way it was. Okay, and there were some other things that, I was thinking about with Black Templars. So, there's a lot of stuff that they can emulate. That Marshal guy, that I think is High Marshal Helbrecht or something like that. He's a pretty big beast. The Champion's brutal. He's a character killer. He's just brutal in close combat as well. There are a few things going on, I think there was an aura for Helbrecht where I think he gets like +1 attack it's only within a radius, but he can still do it. So, there are a lot of ways to bring up Black Templars on par with Blood Angels, I thought, that I was thinking tactically. And I'm sorry, I don't follow many of the other tactical channels. I do read Goonhammer. That's about it these days, because all the other channels just basically copy Goonhammer, whatever they write anyway, right? So, I read Goonhammer for reference, and there were a few things in Goonhammer that I didn't think of. So like the Incursors, I think they're called, which we'll go into later with Blood Angels, which are replacing Scouts. I never thought of that one. But now that we have some gameplay on the field, now that we have some reference, I am feeling confident to come out on video and basically put my chips in and say, based off facts and evidence, I think the Blood Angels will be one of the top tier armies, top tier Space Marine armies, if not the top tier army of 9th edition. Now, I've been more right than wrong. When it comes to these types of things, tactics, I've called, a lot of things. I called the Iron Hands out straight away. I think I lost 50 subscribers for talking about Iron Hands, how they're going to be OP. You can check out the comments. People basically, abusing me in there, telling me that I was just sooking and that they weren't going to be OP, and they became the most OP piece of crap you could ever see, and all this other kind of stuff, right? So, like I said, I had what was it? There was Alpha Legion lists that popped up, miraculously, a couple of weeks later, coming third place in the ICTs using Helldrakes and things like that. All stuff that I was talking about on the channel. So yeah, but anyway, yeah. Now, Death Guard, I think will be okay. Their 5-up is powerful. Problem is, once again, mobility. Now, 9th edition is a objective game now, mostly. And that's where I think Blood Angels are going to come in, because they have the deep strike ability, they have the movement ability, they have the stoic ability, they're able to stay on objectives, keep on there, they're basically able to go through and fight anyone off those objectives, they're able to get to objectives, crisscross around, okay, things like that. The other thing that's really important is the closed board space is going to help these guys whiz around completely. Okay, so, a lot of the mobility, Blood Angels have really epic mobility, all right, when you look at things like the new bikes and things like that, and they also hit like trucks as well. Okay, so that's some of the main reasons why I think that they're going to be one of the best armies, if not the best army in 9th edition, at least when Space Marines are concerned anyway, Now, all right, so first tips, in my opinion, now this is just my opinion, okay? I'm not saying I'm right about this. But if I had the time to play competitive, if I had that kind of time, this is the kind of philosophy I'd be going on about. So the first tip I'm going to give is, number one, in the metagame, okay, probably the first thing I would do in the metagame is only take things on YouTube with a grain of salt, right? I would look at who the YouTubers are, what their motivations are to do with the videos, okay? Most of these YouTubers are basically there trying to sell you minis, all right? Or they've got deals of Games Workshop where they basically go through and they're told to say certain factions are good because they want to sell more of them, okay? Things like that. So, it's never, the information is never going to be impartial. So what a lot of people say, they said, oh, Steve, what's this got to do? It's just not a game. I clicked on this video for Blood Angels tactics. And I'm sorry, but the metagame is really big, okay? Now, you have to look at the motives of the people giving you the information. Now, you could say, well, Steve, well, you got a motive for giving you this information. Not really. I don't really benefit with giving out virtually free information that other people are going to use probably on their channels anyway, while I sit here on 1,000 subscribers and they all take the credit for the stuff, to be honest. It's not, my motivation is just because I like talking about it, and you guys are on here, and you're awesome. All of you are awesome, and I'm obligated to, share my opinion with you guys, and, you might think it's junk, whatever, but that's what it is, right? It is what it is. Okay, so the other thing is, so that's the first one. Ignore the meta, ignore the shield meta, okay? Know who you're getting the information off, okay? Think about it, think about what their motives are. Now, a lot of these channels will come out and they're saying, well, we're ICT players, so that backs us up. So do you really think, the first thing I'd think of in the metagame would be, hang on a minute, if someone is a professional player, or if they're a serious player, why would they go on YouTube and give me like all this epic, like full winning advice, gold advice, which is going to take away from their wins, right? They're probably going to do that, I guess, if they want to sell you something. But aside from that, or their complete bullcrap, you know, they're never going to give you like, you know, they're never going to give away their gold, so to speak, right? The other meta game is, you know, once again, it all comes back to, you know, listening, you know, deciphering the information, disseminating the information, okay? You got guys out there who are there, you know, selling tactics on Patreon who get tabled by drones. Only Adonis knows who that is. I still find it hilarious to this day how someone can get tabled on YouTube in like a turn with knights and get tabled by a drone and then go on to Patreon and then try to charge money for people to do their lists. I find that absolutely hilarious. But you know, people do it. People paying it, man. So whatever. Good luck to them. The next thing is just because you are you're on the test list or the free codex list for Games Workshop, and there's one channel in particular which I've never watched, and this is like I know only Adonis liked them at the start and stuff, but you know, this is a thing. Straight away, I was just like, man, these guys are just full of it. Basically, all right, that doesn't give you any credibility in my book because or testers for Games Workshop, because here's the thing, testing for Games Workshop doesn't exactly give you the most successful, you know, rep. I mean, you know, look at the app. Like, I hope you weren't testing on that app. You know, the rules that come out junk from Games Workshop all the time. They literally, you know, have to be hot fixed all the time. So that doesn't give you any credibility there. It certainly doesn't give you any credibility to basically come out and say friggin', you know, like, I'm an expert at 40K. And it doesn't basically give you any credibility to sit in a room with one dude every day and then basically say that I can tell you the answers to this because I've played the same guy in the same room, right? Like for a month or whatever, with the lists of scenarios, half the information, half the crap that Games Workshop sent me because I'm a shill, right? So this is the thing. It's basically like that. So my first advice or my first opinion about you know, becoming a better player at 40K is to, you know, work out the modus operandi and the agendas of the people who are trying to give you this information and sort of, you know, think outside the box. Now, there's one thing, only Adonis has won quite a few matches. Now I'm back into it at 30K. I'm winning a lot of games right now against some top players as well. Which is pretty crazy. I think I've lost one game so far. The rest I've won, which is pretty awesome. It's 4 games. So tactically, you know, you've got to look at that stuff and you've got to think, well, you know, the trick to winning, to being a good player of this, it's not about copying what someone else is doing, right? The trick is to be innovative and invent new tactics and, you know, and shock and awe, beat the other players at, you know, rock up to the game with a list that's unexpected, work it out. Like, it's so awesome right now in 9th edition because nothing's been worked out yet, right? Everything's still being worked out. And I'm telling you now, there will be a Smash Captain, there will be an Imperial Knight or whatever it is coming out, like a Castellan or the, you know, or the 3 jet bike guys and stuff like that. We will be getting those, but you know, we still got to find them so far. Okay, so those are my opinions for the metagame. All right, so if you steer clear away from that, like I say, Goonhammer, like I would rate them as a good tactical source. And who else? What are that? Board Game Evolution or something like that? I don't watch them anymore because I just sort of felt they just not rip off, but they all their stuff basically comes from Goonhammer anyway, so I just go read Goonhammer, right? No offense to those guys because I really like them. I think their channel's really cool, and they're pretty solid, and I've seen them call out bullcrap from Games Workshop a few times. So, you know, even though, you know, they're receiving the shill laundry coming in, they're still critical. They're still, you know, when Death Guard were crap, those guys literally came out when they had their rules butchered. You know, the dude, I think his name is, literally just come out and he's like, man, this is what he is doing, GW. You know, you gotta, And that's the thing. You've got to call it how you see it, right? You gotta call it how you see it, and you gotta basically, be honest. You gotta be honest. So anyway, all right, cool. So Blood Angels. Good to talk about Blood Angels. All right. First of all, I'm just going to go through the units in my head, just talk about like what it is, and then I'm going to go through the list here, talk about units that I think will be good picks, and I have notes here as well. I'll put them somewhere, so in case they mix anything. Okay, let's talk about the stuff in the new Odomitus box first, right? So I think definite 100%, not auto includes, but units that are very strong are the captain, the Primaris Captain with the skull shield, whatever they call it, and the power sword, right? I think only Adonis and I were talking about it, and I still agree with him. I think there are better options though at the moment, and I'll go through them in a second. But I still think he's a very strong choice for Blood Angels. If you pimp that guy up with the Artisan of War, you're basically going to get that guy to near Smash Captain levels. Like, you can check out his a good balance between strength, between wounds, and just his attacks, essentially. The guy is getting attacks. Plus, you're going to give him the all-important re-rolls, the re-roll buffs and things. In 30k, it's called Preferred Enemy. Just re-roll to hit, I suppose. Okay, so which is going to be, in a 6-inch aura, which is massive. I also think he is going to synergize really well with the Blade Guard dudes. I can't remember what they're called now. The Primaris Blade Guard guys in the box. So basically, he will fit in really well as a buff for them coming out of an Impulsor. The pulsers are still reasonably pretty cheap. And you put the shields on them, the extra shields and things like that. And you could get the buff from them there. Okay, so I think Blade Guard Veterans, okay, so that's their name, I think. So Blade Guard Veterans, I'll see if they pop up in here. They probably won't, because it's all just Blood Angel stuff here. So those guys are nasty as anything, okay? They've got the Strength 5 attacks as well, okay? And they're going to be a really epic counter to, one of the stronger armies. Not one of the best armies, one of the stronger armies, which is going to be the Custodes, right? So they're going to have some massive hitting power. Now, the problem is once again, they're going to suffer the mobility issue that the Custodes are suffering, that the Death Guard are suffering. I also think Eldar are going to do pretty well, by the way. I think that they're going to be pretty strong. I don't think Tau are going to be that great at the moment. They'll be okay, but they'll be the top mids. But I think the top, you're going to need to mix mobility with staying power, objective taking, or the ability to just draw the enemy out and just, weather him down while you hold objectives. So you got to, and that's where Blood Angels are going to be epic, because with Blood Angels, you could come in, you have the mobility, you can steep strike in, you can capture those objectives, you could get to them first, right? And then you can hold those objectives. You have the stay in power to be able to hold in those objectives. So 8th edition tactically was all about, amount of shots. Horde armies, amount of rolls, amount of dice. It was all just about, that's why armies like Imperial Guard usually did really well, okay, or Orcs, because it was just about, it was just all about, weight of shots and things like that. And, the other thing that really helped Guard as well in 8th was the mobility as well. So anyway, starting to digress, but we're not going to do it. So, the Primaris Captain, Blade Guard Captain, whatever it is, the guy in the Indominus box, the captain there, he will be good. I don't think he's going to be an auto-include, though. I think he's going to kind of be like, if you really love the model, you can stick him in there. You won't really do too bad. I think he'll be, semi-competitive to competitive, but I don't think he's going to be cheese dick levels of competitive, like, the whole, win at all costs kind of thing, right? Him, got the Blade Guard Veterans, coming out of Impulsor, or even like 2 squads of Blade Guard Veterans would be awesome, okay? They'll suffer in mobility, but they will be a really good anchor for you to get in there and just tie some dudes up, okay? Now, I'll tell you who is going to be an auto include, and Goonhammer also have said this, and in their latest article, which I'll link down below, okay, which I can confirm. Now, I said it to Oni Adonis, and there he is, the Sanguinary Ancient, right? Also the Sanguinar, but this Sanguinary Ancient is going to be an auto include. Okay, because that guy is literally going to give everybody 5-up, feel no pain, everybody within his aura. He's got the standard, and you can also use the Sanguinary Guard to basically come in there and have a lot of mobility in there as well, and he will buff them up as well. The other one that's going to be really strong, and who I would probably replace with the captain, elite captain dude, is the Sanguinar. Now, this guy running around, giving buffs to attacks and all that kind of stuff, extra attacks and stuff like that to all the Sanguinary Guard, everyone around him within 6. Oh my goodness, he's going to be awesome. And his points didn't go up much either. Like, I think they went up like 10 points or something like that, okay? Notable mentions also, and this was also discussed before, the Blood Angels Librarian Dreadnought. Okay, psychic powers. He also offers a lot of dimensions of play over there, and he's going to actually be able to throw a lot of your opponents off guard and things like that as well. When it comes to, doing shenanigans, plus just psychic powers. It's just always good to have psychic powers in the list of things like that, okay? Okay, so yeah, now the other units that I reckon are going to be epic. So yeah, Sanguinary Guard, Sanguinary Ancient, Sanguinar, the Blade Guard Veterans, Blade Guard Captain or Primaris Captain, whatever it is. I would probably stay away from the Lieutenant at this point, because I think the points would be more required elsewhere. The Judicaire, even though I'm not massive on the model, the Judicaire I think will do really well as well. So probably, if you really wanted to be a cheese dick, you could put him in the list. I think he'll definitely do well. I probably might keep him out. I think I might go for something else there. I'm thinking that I might even go a little bit unorthodox here, and I'll tell you about, I might even go for Terminators. I'll tell you about that in a second. I know they've gone up in points, everybody, but I still think they're really, really strong. And once again, it's just that deep strike ability, that shock and awe that synergizes really well with the Blood Angels. And even though I think they have gone up in points, I think that Blood Angels Terminators, deep striking in with a captain, or even a Storm Raven gunship inside there with a pack of them in there with a priest or something to raise your strength. The good old tactic coming in there, dropping them off, and the Storm Raven will give you some ranged firepower as well, a little bit of a distraction as well, to distract you from everything else that's going on as well. Okay, so there's that. I'm definitely considering them. I don't think they're auto includes, but I think that they will be strong, and I think that will throw people off, because at the moment I can't see the bandwagon heading in that direction so far. Number one, because I think Games Workshop have sold enough of them. So I think that, the shill YouTubers aren't going to plug them as much. So you're going to see them using less play. And I also think that it's basically just going to be because they're going to be unexpected in the early days anyway. And I think you can really use them as a wild card, and you can really go in there, do some hard damage with them. They're still really good. They're still going to be... So you think about it, right? You bring them in on the assault phase as well. This is the other crazy thing with them, and why I think this unit has been seriously overlooked so far with all the Primaris and Indomitus flash. So we all know that, in the assault phase, which is basically usually going to happen in turn 3 for Blood Angels at this time, unless the meta changes, the actual rules change. And those guys, save them till turn 3 or turn 2, they come in, and bam, you literally in assault phase with them, just smacking up whatever you need to smack up. All of a sudden, your opponent's dealing with all this crazy crap going on, up his front arc, and then all of a sudden, Blood Angels Terminators, Blood Angels Thunderhammers Storm Shields, are just going to teleport in the enemy lines, or even on another objective or something like that, or whatever it is you need to, and they're going to smash vehicles. Maybe there's a super heavy or a tank column up the back, something, bit of a fire base that the enemy has basically set up to deal with you, okay? Because that's what I would be doing. Like, I mean, you know, they might want to try to thin the enemy, the Blood Angels, down before getting into assault with them. Like, you know, a turn or so, maybe a turn before getting in there. And that's basically it. Now, the other thing that's come up, and I disagree with... at first I thought they were going to be strong, and that's the new Melter guys, the Eradicators for Blood Angels. Now, although in other lists I feel as though they could be strong, I think that, you know, there are better units. I don't think they're a bad unit. I think they could do okay for you in Blood Angels. But I think there are better options, and for the points. Now, unless you wanted to hide them somewhere, they would work as a good hidden unit in terrain if you wanted to hide them out of line of sight. But kind of, what's the point? You have these sort of close range weapons going on and you're hiding them. Yeah, no, you got to have your stuff in there. Unless you're trying to hide them, or you're trying to basically... You can pack them in a repulsor or something. Personally, I would not waste my points on a repulsor. To be frank, it's just too squishy. I reckon you're better off getting impulses and having Primaris in that, and then whatever you wanted, like if you wanted to play aggressors as Blood Angels, or you wanted to play Assault Marines as Blood Angels, which I think are decent options for troops, but I think they're better. I think Death Company are better. But if you had to run them, I would just run them. I would set up a wall with my impulses, and I would literally be a full shonky cheese dick and turn the tank like... So this is a tank, like, because there's no rules about what way a model should be facing. So I would actually turn the model on its side like that, and create kind of like a shield wall with them. If you're going to run 2 or 3 of them, and just have the impulsors going up and hide the Assault Marines behind those impulsors while you have the... While you have the other Marines in there, in there. So kind of like, sort of like a shield, a bit of a Hopper-type shield sort of going up the table. That's the way I would do it. I would rather spend the money on that than the Repulsor, because the problem is with the Repulsor, it's 3-up save. It does have a bit of firepower on it, but it does hold some troops, but you kind of don't need it. The firepower isn't long-ranged enough for you to keep it safe. And it's just too much of a points investment, you know. If you're gonna, I would rather take a Land Raider, to be honest. I think a Land Raider Redeemer or a Crusader. I don't think a Phobos with las cannons, because, you know, that's probably better off, you know, up the back of the table a bit. Shooting stuff with las, and I'll get to that in a second. Why I have a better solution for that. But I think. I think a Redeemer or Crusader with Death Company in it going up the table is going to do you a lot better. You got a 2-up save at least, okay, and you're going to get more sort of DACA on it and things like that as well. Maybe not more DACA. The Repulsor's probably going to have more DACA. But, you know, with that said, I just think I would rather, you know, use a Land Raider to transport Death Company troops up there with no Assault Marine Death Company with no jetpacks. Save a few points, just chuck them in there, ride them up, and you can make that, you know, as part of your line of sight blocking Hopper-type shield wall. You know, your dodgy cheese dick shield wall going up. I tell you guys, if I played this game competitively, I wish I had the time, but I just don't. So my gift is I want to give you guys my tactics so my subscribers can see this and do really good in games, you know, and that's what this channel's about. So, I'll earn like maybe 5 cents from these ads, which will even go, you know, probably into a new microphone, or basically for the channel, or maybe on a prize or something one day, you know, for you guys. But I had to buy this mic because the audio was just getting crap. So anyway, so that's that. And that now, talking about long range firepower from Blood Angels, you need to have. The issue is with Blood Angels, okay, you can take sort of, you know, melter bombs on people, but I cannot stress enough, okay, you must have at least one long range unit for a firebase, right? Now, instead of having melters, which will need to be in a bloody transport for half the game, or going up the table, or using points to get it there some other way, right? I would use those points. I would take a Contemptor Dreadnought, Relic Contemptor with double las cannons, right? One on each arm, all right? They're probably be a little bit more expensive than the Eradicators, but, you know, I think for bang for your buck, the Contemptor Dreadnought, Blood Angels Contemptor is going to be like a lot better. Also, remember too, even though it's a ranged unit, all right, you're going to be using this to go through and smack armor with it. That's what it's for. Stuff that's giving you grief. It's hiding up the back. You got 48-inch range with your las. All right. But remember, your Blood Angels Contemptor is still going to get buffs to its attacks as well, because it's got the Legion Astartes in the assault phase. So you will still be smacking people. You still get close range attacks with that Contemptor. So it can still semi-defend itself for a turn or so, you know, with its Dreadnought's fists. Because even if it doesn't have the actual Dreadnought attack weapons, close combat weapons, you know, it'll just smash people with the las cannons. Now, correct me if I'm wrong with that, but that's the way it kind of works at 30k anyway. Now, the thing is that with that, like, a lot of people say, well, look, why don't you take, you know, like a close combat, you know, Contemptor with, you know, talons and things like that. And look, that could work, definitely. But I just think that you already have so much close range crap. You've got to have like an option for long range fire support, all right, from a firebase. Now, the other thing you could do as well, something for cheap objectives taking would be to use, now this is only Adonis, this is something he spoke about, so give him credits for that, to use servitors. You could take servitors now, and they're really, really cheap. They're like 13 points or something like that, and you can chuck them in there, and you can literally sit them on objectives while your army goes out and goes forward. Now, this is sort of subjective to a bit of a rumor. Now, I have heard that some of the stuff I've been saying so far about, you know, Blood Angels only getting certain units, we have to see what's going on, because apparently there's a rumor going around. It may even be a fact now. I'm not sure. I've been off doing stuff and dealing with stuff in the real world, which is crazy, as everybody knows. I hope everybody's safe. So there's been a rumor that all the Space Marines now are going to be part of this new codex. So like Blood Angels and stuff like that, you know, they're going to be part of the main Space Marine codex. Now, only Adonis told me about this a few weeks ago. I think I did read something about it. I'll need to get back to you on that one, or maybe someone can let us know in the comments down below if this is a fact or not. But if this is the case, you know, we may actually see Blood Angels being able to take all the normal Marines units from the Marines Codex, or at very least, maybe they can take a like some extra units, right? You know, so this is kind of going to be a thing. You know, we got to keep our eye out on that one, and if that's the case, then, you know, Blood Angel's going to get stronger. It's only going to benefit them, right? So just keep that in mind as well when it comes down to it. All right, so what else do I want to talk about here? So I've covered, I think, look, those are my main units. Let's go through here. I might jump in if I can think of anything else, but all that stuff there, I'm going to be building a list around that stuff. I haven't put my list completely together yet, but I'll probably share it with you guys. I mean, I virtually have shared it with you guys on the channel. And, you know, look, I'm happy for you guys to go off and you know, if you find some value in it and you can do really good with it, please be my guest, go for it. It's the least I can do to thank everybody here. And I know there's going to be some people who aren't subscribed using it too. That's all good, you know, whatever. So, okay, Mephiston. Mephiston, I think he's a decent option coming up into 9th, but I think that there are better options for librarians. I think that Phobos librarians are going to be better because they could basically, they can, you know, not outflank, what was it, infiltrate in or not deep strike, the forward operative or whatever up the board. I get my 30k, 40k rules mixed up a bit, but they could basically shoot ahead of the army because they're basically Phobos armor, which brings me to something that I just remembered, so I nearly forgot. I haven't even checked my notes so far. How good's that? Something that I nearly forgot. So in curses with a Phobos librarian, sort of taking objectives, popping smoke, okay, giving -1 a hit, and also going through and getting like all the psychic buffs and stuff from this librarian, plus the defensive buffs is going to be really, really, really hard to knock them off objectives and stuff, and it's going to allow your army, it's going to give you frontal assault power, and it's going to allow your army basically to get up, your main assault marines or your death company or whatever it is to get up on the board. Now, that's a Goonhammer thing. I didn't thought about that one, but awesome. So that I agree with them on that. I think that's a thing. All right. So now, yeah, Mephiston, I think he could be good, but he'll be mid to okay, decent, maybe 7 out of 10. But I would go for Phobos Librarian. There are better options. Yeah. So Dante, I liked Dante. I really like Dante. I'm thinking at the moment though, I just think he's too high a price. At the moment, he could work with a flyer list, granting flyers rerolls. So I think flyers could be cool, especially now that they could basically come on and off the board. And, Dante would kind of be able to keep up with him a little bit with his jetpack, sort of, because he's moving 12 and then he can run, another 6. He won't be able to shoot, but he can still attack, but he can provide flyers rerolls, right? Like to hit and stuff. So that's something else you might see a little bit of, because flyers can just take off. But I just think he's very, very, very high pointed right now for what he's doing. The other thing is with flyers, flyers aren't really going to score score objectives, and I think that your units, you're better off putting those points into scoring units unless you wanted to use flyers with transports as transports, or flyers as like a couple of anti-tank, sort of the little flyers, storm talons or something like that. Now I think only Adonis is pointed them out of being strong. I think they are good, but I would honestly rather spend my points on scoring stuff, especially in a smaller board size arena with more emphasis on objectives and stay in power. Okay. Sanguinary Guard, very strong. All the attacks. You've basically got the Artificer armor on them as well. You could get, run with the Sanguinar, okay, and the Ancient. You're going to buff these guys to heck. You're going to get 5-up, feel no pains. You're going to get +1 to attacks. Definitely take a few of those. Power Fists are looking good. I have swords on my guys. I'm going to just check the rules on those guys. But they're saying Power Fists, Power Axes, sort of half-half. Some people are saying Power Fists. Look, you can't go wrong with Power Fists. But, I'm thinking that swords might give you more attacks. And I'm thinking that, you got the +1 to wound anyway. So I'm kind of thinking that, against mid-range units, like you've already got your anti-tank from your Contemptor in my sort of list I'm thinking about, and you've already got your anti-tank from like the Terminators, Thunderhammers. So these would be my mid sort of ranged attackers, dealing with like other elites, and then I'd have incursors dealing with chaff or just even holding them up. Not even like killing them, just holding the chaff up or putting that shield up, that screening wall up ahead. Librarian, yeah, as I said, go with the Phobos. Astrath the Grim, super strong. I would take him for sure. He's really good for his points. He would be one of my top tier selections as well for the army list. So, yeah, so just to let you know, Azarath the Grim, the Sanguinar, Phobos Librarian, those would be my top tier picks for HQs, and then like the cheese dick level picks, and then down below just competitive, I would say Blood Angels, Librarian, Dreadnought, Box Dread, the Blade Guard veteran captain dude, and probably, I don't know, maybe like I think it's about it. Maybe a Librarian, but I think he was an elite. So I need to check that out in the book, but those would be, you get the idea. Captain Tycho went up too high in points. Yep. Blood Angels captain. I would, with Terminators, I would run him just for the deep strike. But aside from that, I wouldn't have him in my main attack force. It would be as a flanking force. Flesh Terrors, no good now. Their commander went up too high. Assault squads, Def Company's where it's at if you're going to take them, or take Assault Primaris. So let's see what other units. The other one as well, which hasn't been discussed much as well, will be the Furioso Dreadnought with a frag cannon, which would be really good, and the Def Company Dreadnought with the Furioso claws as well, which I think are going to be brutal. I haven't quite worked out how I'm going to play. I would play it yet. But I've got a feeling about that unit. I'll get back to you on it. I think it's just something to have a look at, okay? Now, the rest of this stuff, it's pretty much just repetitive. Chaplain, you do all right with. Take the new one from Indomitus if you want, but I think you're better off taking a Judicar or a Judicare. Now, the Judicare, he would be another top army list reference. Now, the other one that Goonhammer said, so I'll put a link to the description down below the article, by the way, as well. So Goonhammer talked about the Calexis Assassin, and at first when I read it, I was just like, what the hell? Like, why would you take him? But basically, so the thing is of him is that a lot of the other chapters who are going to be your main competitors, Marines are going to be super strong all across the board. But it will be Space Wolves, Black Templar, blah blah blah. Space Wolves, they have really strong characters. They're very high points cost though. But the problem will be all these other armies are going to get an initiative boost on you. So what the Calexis Assassin as a HQ is apparently going to do, and I do agree with Goonhammer here. I think it is feasible. Is that the Calexis Assassin has a stratagem where that stratagem is basically going to allow you to negate all the other factions' initiative and allow you to hit first. So that's the way you kind of solve that, which is a really important thing. So plus they're really good now on the formation, the army formation chart and things like that. So, I'd have a look at him as well. Okay. So scouts, they've just gone up too much in points. Bikes, not these bikes, but the new Primaris bikes, definitely anything that's going to bring you speed and mobility and are going to be wins here in 9th. Once again, look, I know that the Custodes have got their jet bikes, and a lot of people are going to say, like, oh, Steve, the Custode jet bikes, man. Like, yeah, okay. But the problem is you just can't get enough of them. They're just too expensive. Whereas, like, Blood Angels bikes, you're going to be able, the Primaris bikes, you're going to be able to get more of them for the points and the cost, and you're going to be able to get them out onto the board, cover more terrain with them, cover more territory. Here's an idea for a list. What about a list based around the new Primaris Bikers and Dante, or if you wanted to go a bit cheaper, just a Space Marine Captain with a jump pack, or a Space Marine Captain on a bike? He could work. Toughness 5. They have heaps of wounds, those new bikes. Reavers, I think they will benefit a little bit from the Blood Angels warlord trait, the faction trait, sorry. But I just think they're better units. I think you're better off with Def Company, to be honest. And look, all the rest of it, get yourself a Contemptor, double Laz, or something like Kiri's assault cannons, or something like that. But you got to get long range fire support. I would stay away from the from the impulsors and that if you really want to get competitive. That's right, repulsor executioner. That's what it's called. So basically, I would keep away from them. They're just 2 points heavy. You probably could run an executioner, but you would have to cut heaps of stuff out. So it depends on these lists, guys, and you know how sort of competitive you want to be with it, right? You know, but yeah. Now the other unit that I just got reminded about was the Baal Predators. So I reckon, and here's a bit of a bonus for you guys who are stuck around for the rest of the video. Don't freak out, it's Australian prices. I reckon Baal Predators are going to be awesome, especially with the new tanks being able to shoot in close combat rules. I reckon this is a serious overlooked thing. I reckon Baal Predators with assault cannons and with the heavy bolters are going to be a really cool, durable addition to the Blood Angels army to give you some chaff clearing and some fire support. So here's the thing, everybody. You know, my opinion, take a Contemptor Dreadnought, double las, leave your 350 point bloody executioner at home, and, you know, use the extra points to buy like another one or two of these. You know, you're going to be faster, you're going to be able to get in there, and you're going to make the, you're going to give the Marines a lot more bodies, you know, and, you know, amount of shots are going to really weigh in this edition. Okay, so those are my thoughts. Let me just check. I think I pretty much wrapped it up, everybody, for today's video. I spoke about the Blood Angels Dreads. And so, yep, spoke about those. There are the Servitors. I wonder if people have had the same ideas as Oni Adonis there. I hope he doesn't mind me talking about this, but I have Oni Adonis. I have heard it on channels anyway, man. Like, I have heard it like spoken about, so it's pretty much out there, man, but you were on the right track. This guy's cool if you want to increase the strength of units, but the problem is you're going to have to get him there, so, you know, it's going to be, unless you got him in a Crusader or something, you can't put him in the Primaris transports. The good old Sanguinary Priest, Terminators, Captain in a Storm Raven would be cool, but it's point heavy. So you're going to have like 600-700 points of your army invested there. So I wouldn't, maybe even more. So I would have a think about that. I think, you know, just deep strike the Terminators in. You could get a lot of that stuff in this box here. So where the Hellblasters sit here, I think they're going to come in really, really good with Dark Angels. I think Dark Angels are stronger this time. And I think we have the data now, not the shillery, to be able to make some calls on this now. I go by the data, guys, not by the Indominus boxes. But basically, Games Workshop giving me stuff for free. They can keep it. I'm sure I won't be missed. And but basically, so I don't think I'd bother with Hellblasters with Blood Angels. I think your points are better spent on, you know, Blood Angels putting the points into units that are going to more be, you know, going to synergize more with their army and play to their strengths. So you always want to play to the army's strengths with covering your weaknesses. Okay, so that's where I would sort of go with it. Remember, you know, take a Land Raider Crusader, save yourself some points, or a Land Raider Redeemer, save yourself some points on those jump packs even, like, you know, just run without it, stick them in there, Death Company, no jump packs, just get them in there, just, you know, even if you're just tangling the enemy up. Now, the other one that hasn't shown up, I might have missed it, maybe you could consider Lamatis, okay? But yeah, anyway, the rest of this, everybody, is either kind of generic. We got Sanguinar here. I already said I reckon he's probably going to be my main HQ. I'm not massive on the model, though. I think it needs an update. But it's still a really good model. But yeah, all right, everybody. Okay. All right, everybody. Look, brothers, I'm going to wrap the video up here. Sorry, it's been a few, I think it's been a week and a bit since my last video. I've had a lot going on. So, all good, guys. Look, you all take care. I hope you're well. I'll get some videos up the best I can. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's not that I really care about subscribers. It's just that, like, it just helps the videos go up, and the more the videos sort of rank, the more motivation I have to do them. Because like, you know, sometimes it's when videos get made, you spend an hour on it, like you did this one, and you know, you put your actual thoughts and tactics into a video, and you get, you know, 5 cents for it. One thing I sort of would like the videos to do is to reach more people. So that would be cool. But look, if you don't want to subscribe to the channel, thank you so much for watching anyway. Keep wargaming, keep rolling, everybody. I'll see you in the next video. It's probably going to be a painting one, but I love talking tactics with you, and I think we were well due up for some tactics. Okay, I'll see you in the next video, everybody. Brother Stefanius, commencing wargaming.